Hi all, this is Dana here. In this video I'm actually going to be doing this handheld, so I apologize if the camera moves around a little bit. What I'm going to be doing is quickly showing you a little bit about how I did my big gallery wall here in my newly set up apartment. Some of you, I'm sure, have had issues trying to figure out how to lay out an art wall. I'm going to show you the way I did it. There's lots of ways to do it, and it really does depend on what art you have, whether it's all framed the same. You can see there's a lot of different types of art here. And also the media of the wall. In this particular case, this one that I'm looking at right now is plasterboard or drywall. And I'm just going to spin around. Excuse the feeling sick, I hope you don't. Whereas this one here, where I've got a bunch of my oil paintings, I'm just going to focus. This wall here, you can see a bigger drawing on the back wall there. This one here is actually concrete, so I can't drill into the wall. So I'm going to show you quickly. I'm just going to zoom in. You can see up the top there, these are the 3M command hooks. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them in different shops and whatnot. They're really cool. They can be removed really easily from the wall. You just pull a little plastic strip off the back. But what I did in order to hang these paintings, these are actually oil paints on builder's paper, like tar paper you would use in the inside of your walls. So I use that to paint on. These are oil paints. And sorry, I'm just going to go for a little walk. Excuse the camera moving. This one here is a chalk pastel drawing that I did quite a few years ago. It's getting a little bit faded now. It's been rolled up and moved around a lot. But yeah, so that's actually just a huge big sheet of the builder's paper that I chopped off and then drew on. It's great. And it's basically acid free as long as you don't get it hot, which I did a little experimentation on it many years ago. So yeah, the oil paint, obviously I sealed it with acrylic paint before painting onto it with the oil so the oil wouldn't seep into the paper. So that's the concrete wall I've hung with the 3M strips, and I will show you how I actually did that. Sorry, moving around again. So this is all the materials I used for hanging my stuff. You can see the 3M strips here. I don't have any of the white hooks left. I used them all on the wall. This is one of the sample hooks that came with it. It's an extra one that came with it. So basically you would attach these little sticky things here. I'm just going to zoom into it. So the red side here goes onto the back of the hook, and then when you're ready to peel them off eventually, this black side gets stuck to the wall. When you're ready to peel them off, you basically just pull down this little tab and the whole thing slowly releases from the wall and takes the hook off, and it doesn't mark up your wall, which is great. So that's the command hooks there. So I'm keeping that as it has all the instructions on the back for later. I also used this kind of putty type stuff. It's like a sticky stuff. You can actually use it for cleaning and all kinds of stuff, but I use this to hold up anything that's just like a poster. I used some some pins. I will show you that in a minute. I used thumbtacks for some of the pieces, and these are the hooks that I actually used with these little bulldog clips. I used these with the paintings on the wall with the command strips. So what I did is I'm going to use these hooks as an example. I'm going to take my little marker tape off. I'll show you how I use that in a minute. So what I did is I actually clipped the hook around my artwork, around the top of it, and then I removed this piece here. If you squeeze these two little levers together, like if you squeeze the metal pieces together, that little leg will actually pop right out. Comes and that way you can, I'm just going to go back to the wall. You can see, you don't actually see those little legs hanging down in front of the piece. It's basically just the back leg that's been hooked over the command hook. Incidentally, these are some of the artworks that are licensed to Eclectic Bloke Designs as cross-stitch patterns. They're on my shop site, so I'll put a link to that on the website and also in the video description. So these are some of the other things. So yeah, so basically I just hooked, so I'm just going to zoom in. I basically just, so example, this is a command strip. I hooked that over it, so that's what's hanging off of it, and then I removed that front little leg there to make it look nicer. Some of the heavier pieces I used these traditional picture framing type hooks and some nails. Obviously that was in the side that's the drywall, and that's my measuring tape that I used to measure everything out with. So what I did is I will show you here on this wall. So you can see I'm just going to back up, zoom in. You can see I have a lot of different styles of artwork. I have a lot of, so I've got some canvas prints, I've got some just life drawings onto paper, I've got some framed prints, I've got a few pieces that are quite heavy, so they needed to be hung with the picture framing hooks. So what I did is I actually laid all of this out on my floor. I've got a decent amount of floor space, so I kind of did that roughly around here on my floor. And so what I did is I actually laid all of these paintings out on the floor and figured out where I wanted everything, and measured roughly where, like the length of the wall and the height of the wall that I wanted to use. I wanted to leave a little bit of space behind the televisions because obviously from the couch you can't see that. So I wanted to lay it all out on the floor. So I put it all on the floor, fiddled around with it, figured out where everything was going to go, and then I put it up on the wall. And I'll show you one or two of the tricks that I used. So, sorry, just going to zoom in here. So this is one of my life drawings. So this is using that tack stuff, that white putty stuff, so that you just stick down and it doesn't stain. This one I just used a little thumbtack on the top, and that's just holding it up. This is actually my electrical box here, so covering that up with one of my drawings I did in Japan. And so for an example, some of these ones here, these actually aren't that heavy. So what I did is I hung them, just gonna move this out of the way, is I hung them using straight pins of all things. I didn't want to use big nails in this wall. I didn't want to leave any big holes. And if I used push pins, the push pin actually wouldn't have fit into the little hanger that's on the back of these particular frames. So what I did is I used a little piece of black tape that you saw on my table. And so see, I knew I wanted it to be centered between this one and this one. So I'd use my tape measure between, and I would figure out where the center was, mark that edge of where the center was with the little piece of black tape, and then I actually used a push pin to start off the little hole. And then, I don't know if you can see very clearly, this is actually 2 straight pins that I just carefully hammered into the wall with a really lightweight hammer, and it works really well actually, and the pins are long enough that it supports the weight of the frame really easily. Obviously this is only for really lightweight frames. I would absolutely not do this if there was any kind of heavy frame or a lot of glass involved. That would be probably really unadvised. In that case I would use nails, which is what I did for this bigger frame here with my degrees and whatnot. I used an actual picture framer, so it supports the weight better. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's lots of different ways to do framing and hang things, and as I said, it does actually really depend on what you're framing. If it's possible to get everything framed in the same type of frame, that's obviously ideal because it's going to create quite a cohesive look to your wall. With mine, I have a lot of artwork. Like, this is only a little tiny portion of what I actually own and have done over the years. Like I said, some of these pieces are cross-stitch patterns at the moment, available through Eclectic Block Designs. Some of them are just test pieces I did, or pieces I did in art school, whatnot. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. I will be putting a link to the blog post that this is going to go with in the description of the video, so you can see a little bit more detail, and I'll throw in a few photographs as well of how I actually did some measuring. But yeah, this is one way that you can set up a gallery wall. My biggest suggestion is lay it out on the floor if you can, and that way you'll kind of get a good idea of what looks good before you start banging holes into your wall. And that's it for now. Thanks very much. Talk to you later. Bye for now.